Good morning. How are you doing today? I'm Grady Pruitt, and today I have all of these boxes from Amazon. There's a couple more over here behind me, and so why do I have all these boxes? What's going on? Well, I all these boxes. Sorry, I'm readjusting here. All these boxes have the parts for my new computer, and so what I thought I would do today is unbox these and show you what I have in there and kind of give a little bit of explanation on why I have these parts. So if you are using Blender, you might be wondering, if you don't have a computer, or like if you're thinking about getting a new computer, you might be thinking, what kind of a computer do I need? And the first thing I always tell people is the computer, whatever computer that you have, is the first best computer to use. And part of that is because the Blender will run on just about anything these days. Now, certain things will run better, but you can get by with just about any computer. However, what if you are wanting to build a new computer? Now, the computer that I'm putting together, I'm kind of being a little bit of a budget conscious. I'm trying to keep the cost under about $1,000, and I got a case the other day. It's just a basic case, so it's just a general tower case. But these other parts are what's going to go inside the case. So this is one I'm putting together myself. Although, if you can find something similar, then you can, if you find one that's got a lot of these features, then you can, buy one that's pre-built if you want. So, the first thing that I have here is the memory. And this is 16 gigs of memory. Now this is what I'm starting off with. This would actually be one of three things that, if you're going to spend money on your computer, that's one of the three parts that I would spend money on, because that's going to help the performance of your overall performance. So that's box number one. Here's another big box here. Now, I'm starting off with 16, but but I'm going to have the capacity to be able to upgrade to 32 later on, and that's something I do plan on doing. And one of the other components that I would suggest spending money on is this little puppy right here. I'm excited, can you tell? This is my graphics card. Okay, now I've got a 960. The reason I went with the 960 is because I was trying to keep the cost under $1,000. If I was trying to go for a top of the line, I probably would have gone with either the 980 or the 1080. But the one thing that you got to pay attention to is how much onboard memory it has, because if you get too low of an onboard memory, you're going to have problems running your scenes. So I went with the 4 gig. I know from scenes that I've done in the past, off of my laptop, I have a 6 gig memory on my laptop, but about 2 gigs of that was being run with system stuff. So I figured if I had 4 gigs, then I'd at least be able to render scenes of pretty close to the same size and complexity off of the graphics card is what I was able to run off of my laptop. Pretty close, you know. I might have a little bit of problems. We'll see, but the more memory you can put on there, the better. With the 980, I think with the, I was looking the other day with the 1080 or with the 980. I think with the 980, I think I saw up to 6 gigs, and I think with the 1080, I saw up to 10 gigs. The only thing with those is that you're going to spend closer to $400 or $500 to get that as of 2016, whenever I'm recording this. So the second thing, one of the key areas to spend money on is your video processor. I'm going to check out what that is here in just a minute. Next thing that I have here is, this is the motherboard, and it's kind of a key component because it's going to run everything, but as long as it will run the processor that you're trying to do, has enough slots to be able to. This has the capability of doing SLI, which is which is what works with the NVIDIA graphics cards, to be able to run two in tandem. So as long as you have a video card that can handle that, even if you don't connect up the SLI, which with Blender you don't necessarily need the SLI connected, from what I understand. And with the graphics card, I just have one for now. I'm going to actually add a second one later on. So it's something to keep in mind. And also with the because I'm being conscious of how much I'm spending right now, I only went with this one. If I had the money later on that I could afford to upgrade to the 1080 or the 980, I can very easily do that. So I'm not worried about that. Main reason, this is my first computer that I'm building. I'm actually having the CUDA capability, and that's one of the things you want to make sure is that you have plenty of CUDA cores to work with. Okay, so like with the motherboard, again, pay attention to how much memory size it can handle. Make sure it can handle having 2 graphics cards, and it doesn't matter if it has, because if you're getting your own graphics cards, you don't have to worry about making sure that it has video capabilities, which some of them do. But the thing is, like, a lot of the ones that have the onboard video capabilities usually are using the either AMD, which Blender doesn't have as good support for, or it's using Intel HD, which I don't know that Blender is supporting at all. So I haven't tried it. I haven't heard anything about it, but that's just what I've noticed. It's kind of the same thing with the laptops. Most of them are using Intel HD for the graphics processor, and the ones that aren't using Intel HD are typically using the Radeon from AMD, which might not have as good support as the NVIDIA stuff. And that's if you're spending anywhere from $500 to $1,000. If you only have $500, a laptop or one of the off-the-shelf computers would get you by. But if you're wanting if you have about $1,000 and you want to put together at least a halfway decent system, these are the types of things that I got to put together my machine. So anyway, I got the motherboard. Alright, let's see what's in this little box here. Okay. This is my hard drive. I went with a Western Digital 1 terabyte hard drive. I probably could have gone a little bit bigger, but I can always add more storage if I need to later. Alright. This is actually a box I got yesterday instead of today. And this has a bunch of these little bubble things. This is just an optical drive. It's a Blu-ray drive. The main reason I got it is I have a bunch of old discs that maybe I want to get stuff off of. I have like 2 or 3 Blu-ray players around the house, but that's my son you see in the background. I have 2 or 3 Blu-ray players, but some of them I for some reason was not playing some of my Blender discs, even though they were Blu-ray. So I thought I'd at least try it and see what we got. And then we have this big box over here. I just gotta clear some room for it. I'm excited. Woohoo! Alright, so let me see. What do we got here? We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, this, if you're going to have 2 graphics cards, this is something that's very important. This is a 750 power supply. You want to make sure that you have plenty of power to run your machine. So make sure you spend some money. Make sure you need to get. You might have to investigate to see how much you need. I think it was around $650, but I went ahead and went a little over just to be safe. So yes, you need to make sure you have plenty of power if you're going to run 2 cards. And while I'm not running 2 cards now, I do plan on adding a second card in the future. So that's why I have this extra power. Now, one of the other components that you want to you'll want to spend some money on, and I've heard some people say you don't need to spend as much money on this. I disagree. That is the processor. I went with an AMD FX 8370. This is an 8-core. I don't think that was the one I was originally going to get. Oh, yes it is. Yes it is. Okay, so it's an FX 8370 that has 8 cores. Now, why did I do that? The reason I went with the FX 8370, the reason I went with an AMD 8-core, I remember a few years ago I was getting ready to get a laptop. This was kind of just before Blender started doing the support for NVIDIA, for support with NVIDIA of doing the graphics card. The ability to use the graphics card for rendering. And I remember one of the things I had heard was that it was better to use actual cores versus hyper-threaded cores whenever it comes to rendering, because using the actual cores actually ran faster for renders. So and then we had all this transition with a lot of things going to CPU. I mean, to the GPU, the graphics processor. So why would I spend money on the CPU if everything's going to the graphics processor? Well, whenever Blender comes out with new features, first, a lot of times, they're not available on GPU. They're available on CPU first. Okay? So, for all those times whenever the GPU is not an option, you want those extra cores. So even though like a lot of things, most of the things you'll be able to do off of CPU, there are going to be times when you need stuff that can't run on on the GPU for whatever reason, and so you want to make sure you have a decent CPU as well. Now, the other thing too is sometimes your memory on your GPU card can't handle everything for a particular scene that you're wanting to do. Now you can break things up into smaller parts and maybe get it onto your GPU, but if you wanted to keep it all within one scene, GPU is, if you have a decent CPU, then that's an option for you, and it might not run it won't run as fast as a GPU, but if you spend some money on those extra cores for the CPU, you'll be glad that you have it. So that's that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And the last component, the last major component that I have is right here. This is my monitor. I've got a 24-inch monitor. It's a HD. I only went with 1080p. I just didn't have the budget right now to do a 480, although that would have been nice. And I went with 24 inches. I'm thinking about getting a second monitor, and the space that I have available, I can only fit a couple of 24-inch monitors. So that's why I only went with that. Now I think I'm missing one other little thing that I was expecting to have. It's probably hiding in one of these boxes, and that's just some thermal paste to be able to apply the processor. So that's pretty much my thoughts on the computer, what to get if you're wanting to get a new computer. You can get. I got all this for about $1,000. There's my son again in the background. He's home from school right now, still in his jammies because he doesn't have anywhere to go today. But yeah, that's my thoughts on what to spend money on. Like I said, the three key components you want to make sure you spend money on when it comes to building a computer. You want to make sure you have lots of memory, make sure you have a good processor, and most important, make sure that you have an NVIDIA graphics card. So that's going to work the best with Blender. Make sure that it has lots of CUDA cores, and make sure that you have lots of memory on the card itself. The higher the memory, the bigger scene you'll be able to run on your renders from the graphics card. So that's all for today. If you want to check out my some of my artwork, you can see it at gradypruitt.com. I have a few tutorials there as well, or you can also subscribe to my channel. And if you want to catch me, I'm on Facebook. Most of the places, I'm either Grady.Pruitt, Grady Pruitt, or Grady P. So if you just do a search for me, I'm on Twitter, I'm on Instagram, I'm on Periscope, although I haven't been doing a lot of videos. I'm planning on doing some videos on Periscope and Facebook Live, but I ran into a problem with my phone not charging coming home from my other job, so I haven't done as many videos as I had intended to do this month, and I'm hoping sometime month after next I'll be able to get a new phone, and then I'll be able to do some of those other things that I've been wanting to do for a while. So keeping my fingers crossed on that. But that's all I really had for this video. Feel free to like it and share it. And like I said, my main consideration on this was budget, and so keeping things under $1,000. That's why I went with the parts that I did, and that's why I only went with the 960. If I had about $1,500, I definitely or $2,000 that I could spend, I definitely would have gotten a better the things I would have spent more money on. If I'd had the $2,000-3,000 to spend money on it, I would have gotten a nicer GPU. I would have gone ahead and gotten maybe a little bit nicer CPU. I would have gotten a full bank of memory, and I would have gotten a second monitor. So I'm planning on sometime in the next year coming up with about $500 to add another pair of memory, to add a second GPU, and to add a second monitor. And then after that, then I'll see what money I have as far as trying to do other things. So that's all for now, and we'll talk with you later.